Hey, it's Chris of the Noon Group at Century 21 Alton Clark, and here's the housing report for May. Doesn't it seem like every time you turn on the news, we are just chock full of good news that pertains to our economy and our real estate and everything else? I know. Listen, a question I get a lot is, are we in a recession? Are we heading for one? And if so, what's it gonna do in the real estate market? So let's take a minute and dive into that. Well, last month, the FOMC, or Federal Open Market Committee, met, and they raised federal funds at a rate to 5%. If you remember, I shared with you that if you put out predictions that we'd end up last year around 5.1%, right? But I also warned that they were gonna meet 6 more times. Now, between you and me, I was hopeful that maybe they would wait for a little while before they raised rates again, but they didn't. And they met again in this past month and they raised rates yet again. This time a quarter point. Now we sit here at 5.25. Now to be clear, this is a federal funds rate, not mortgage rates, but they are intertwined, okay? The federal funds rate in this case, if you're curious, is that is what directly impacts the credit cards, the lines of credit, savings accounts, cars, boats, you name it. Now, if you're considering or if you're curious, the 30-year fixed rate is 6.39. The 15-year rate is coming in at 5.75. Now, when I take a look at the snapshots, like 1 year versus 3 years, the 1 year doesn't look so bad until you start looking at the 3 years. And where we're at now, we're not moving in the right direction. But my hope is that there's relief in the near future. The question is there going to be a recession coming soon? And so let's get to some of the particulars. Now, as it pertains to the residential real estate, in April 2023, nationally, the seasonally adjusted rate was 4.28 million in sales, with a median sales price of $388,800. Now, inventory remains tight at 2.9 months supply nationwide. Also, we've noticed a decrease in home sales within major US regions. Registering both month over month and year over year, sales declines are a little concerning. Now, local here in Central Florida, closed sales are down 27%, okay? New listings are down 26%, and the average sales price has dropped a little, and the inventory sits at 1.86 month supply. That's still pretty crazy tight. Central Florida is starting to feel the squeeze now. We also serve areas such as New Smyrna. So what does the coast look like here? Well, out on the coast, we'll see that pending sales are down 9%, and closed sales are down 4%. It's still not good. Active inventory is up 105%, so there's more competition entering the market right now. Values are holding steady though, which is good news that you guys need to take from this, okay? That's throughout all of Central Florida. Now, one more area we cover is Lake County. The villages like Marion and Citrus and Sumter. Okay, so bad news, those areas are generally down 8%. Median sales price has dropped 1 to 2% when compared to last year. And guess what? Inventory in those areas are up as well, just at around 90%. So that's it for the stats. But what about the projections, like the rest of the year? Well, according to Fannie Mae, according to their May housing forecast, we're projected to be down 16.7% in new housing starts for the year nationwide. We're also going to be down 18.9% in single family home sales and down 14.3% in total home sales for 2023. Now, as you can see in the chart, there's a rebound in 2024 or a return to normalcy. But in 2023, outlook is trending in the wrong direction. Now, please know there's no crystal ball for this, okay? All we can do is consistently monitor the situation and make sound decisions with the information we have in hand, okay? That's really all any of us can do. Now let's keep moving and stay on the residential real estate side of things. Let's shift over. Let's take a look over at the luxury side, okay? Both locally and nationally. Now, nationally, the median sales price dipped, but don't worry, it's just under 0.5% of a point. Now, the good news here locally, so Orlando proper and Central Florida, the average sales price of luxury homes have actually rose 4%. Now, obviously, and it's always in the way luxury properties take longer to sell, in a way that time increases right now nationally and locally. An interesting metric for anyone who watch here in Central Florida, inventory in the luxury market has risen 101%. That's going to impact values and sales here in the near future. We just have to continue to watch it, so stay tuned for that. I'll let you know. So shifting gears, let's discuss commercial market. And 2023 outlook indicates quite a few changes ahead. Retail is at a crossroads. The future of office space remains unclear, okay? Why? We've got persisting supply chain issues, record inflation, remote work, and all that stuff. So I took a look at NAR's Commercial Insights report and a focus on vacancy in particular. The office sector is also experiencing challenges for remote work and still about being a thing. And we're seeing that play out with vacancy rates in this regard. In this sector, at a record of highs of 12.9%. Now conversely, and this is something to note, the industrial section has shown strength in vacancy. They remain at a record low of 4.3%, and rent growth remains actually high, and a high above 10%, with warehouse rent growth being above 11%. Now the best sector is retail. They have had the lowest vacancy rates of all commercial sectors in 2023, which is directly connected to the consumer spending staying high. We'll see how long that lasts. If you're looking to invest in commercial, retail will be the way to go, as all near and short-term projections say that it will be the sector going to remain robust. So retail is the way to go. Now, what about the financial front? Well, look, we all know geopolitically issue record inflation is high. Raising interest rates, they have all placed a real significant strain on the US economy, and we're on uncharted territory. As of the end of the April 2023, inflation has rose 4.95%, which is moving in the right direction, but not as fast as we would like it to move. Now, please remember that the Federal Reserve has made it clear that they're going to continue to increase federal funds rates until we hit 2% for inflation. So we'll see how that plays out, but future interest rates are a guarantee at this point, in my opinion. Now, another really good place to look with regards to the financial outlook of our economy is the GDP, or gross domestic product. So I pulled the reports, and starting with the Congressional Budget Office, GDP grew 1.1% in the first quarter, with consumer spending remaining somewhat stable. However, there's lots of other predictions out there. Some predictions say that GDP will slow to 0.7 in 2023, and maybe even as far as 0.4 in 2024. Now, Fannie Mae has a little bit of more of an optimistic forecast. They, however, also predict 2 consecutive quarters in 2023, so Q3 and Q4 in a negative trend, ending this year with 1.7%. And guess what? Q1 of 2024 will also be down, giving us 3 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. That's not good. Obviously, these are ominous predictions that are worth our attention, and I promise you, I'll keep you in the loop as we progress. One final component that we need to consistently pay attention to as well is unemployment. Here in the US, we sit at 3.4%, which is only a minor change compared to last month. As you can see in the graphic, there hasn't been much change in the movement-wise in the regard of the last year. The concerning thing about this is there are multiple forecasts. I've seen many forecasts out there, and they say that unemployment will actually rise to potentially 4.3% by the end of this year, and further increase going into 2024. This is just another metric that we have to watch, because all these things are connected and going into the wrong direction, unfortunately. Obviously, they're gonna have some significant impacts on the housing market and the overall economy. So look, I know this is a lot of sounded kind of like a doom and gloomish kind of thing, and I get it, but here's my professional opinion. It's never a bad time to buy, and there's never a bad time to sell. Now look, I get it, I'm a real estate agent. It sounds self-serving, but it's true. Now here's what I'm telling you. You've got to know what you're doing, and you have to have a professional at your side. You've got to know the numbers, and you've got to know the cliches. You make your money when you buy, and you make your money when you sell. It's true, every deal is different, every scenario is different. And the biggest thing that I'll tell you is you really look at this more historically, like what is waiting a couple years going to do for your wealth building strategy? Do you know what it is right now? And so don't quote me on this, I'll put the numbers on the screen. I think the average wealth of a renter in the United States is roughly around $8,000. And the average wealth of a homeowner is at or above $300,000. Those figures are absolutely night and day difference, and it's exponential. That's why it's never a bad time to buy or sell. It's definitely never a bad time to buy, and it's all in how you buy. Now, it can be a bad time to sell if you don't have good timing. And I will tell you this, if you're even considering the thought of selling, you should probably do so now. The markets are currently holding steady, but the GDP and all other components have had bad outlooks for Q3 and Q4 of this year. So get out in front of this thing and get on the market today. And listen, ultimately, if you want to talk about your situation, where your values are, whether it's a good scenario for you, here's one thing I promise you. I will tell you the truth every single time. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to serve. And I would love the opportunity to serve you and your family. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Depending on where you're watching this, there are links down below where you can download the luxury housing market forecast, the commercial insights report, and also even some local luxury market insight report and some local residential market reports for you in your respective areas. That way you can download them and you can have them for yourself to review. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. And until next time, thanks for watching.